He starts it up. I love it. So, guys, listen. I don't know what number episode this is. 6,000. 650. 650. I mean, we'll take a pause and just take that in for a second, right? There are, you give a lot of credit to a lot of other shows that are doing it. I mean, Card Talk, 100 episodes. That was pretty awesome. Give them a congratulations. I threw that out on my story. And there's some other guys that do this. I guess no one will ever catch us because we're doing it every day, and that's pretty awesome. But right before Andrew just hit, by the way, hello, Luke Nation, nice day. I said, hey, you're in for a fun one today, and here's why. I am not a drinker, not at all. No drinky for me. I mean, I'll have one here and there. I'll have a beer. I think I had a beer at Hakkasan at the Mint Collective, maybe one or two beers. Sat down with like Mike Gio and Jesse from Sports Card Nonsense, brought some beers over, and I don't think they're drinkers either. We were kind of all a bunch of like, hey, let's just drink some beers when no one ever drinks, right? Gave an extra one to Prism God that I had. I'm not really a drinker, but it's Easter tomorrow. You might be listening to this on Easter. And yes, we'll have an episode on Easter, just like we have episodes on Christmas, just like we have episodes every day. It's what we do. No mean any disrespect by that, but we just do it every day. So lucky for me, I was invited over to a cousin's house. They have a couple kids, Ian and Leah can play with, and I don't have to cook, which is great. So I just went out to one of the local liquor stores. I think there are 11 liquor stores in my town. I guess we got a lot of drinkers here. But I went to one of the local
soon to be 11 stores. LCSs.
Yeah,
the hobby's going.
I went to an LCS today too. One of them was closed, the other one was open. But so I went to buy wine, a little bottle of rosé, a little bottle of red, a little bottle of white. People like to drink where we're going. So I bought 4 bottles of wine, and I head up to the counter, and there's a woman there, sort of like at a card show or at like Costco. Yeah, hey, would you like to try a sample of this? Like they used to do that. Hey, try a sample of this. My mother would be like, don't eat lunch because we're going to shop at the Price Club, Costco. So you can have lunch there. And I'm like, oh, really? What are we going to eat there? Pizza? You'll eat whatever they have free samples of. That's what you'll eat. That'll be your lunch. That'll be your lunch, hun. Okay.
That's trauma.
Well, anyway, it is what it is. Obviously, I didn't starve. So I walk up to the front right of the counter, and there is a woman there with like margarita mix and a tequila. I'm going to give them some play here. Ghost tequila, it's called, right? I should just go get the bottle. Really cool, setup. She's like, hey, would you like a free little margarita sample or a ghost tequila shot? And I'm like, yeah, I don't need training wheels. Like, put the lemon and the margarita mix away. I'll just take a shot. I'm a big dude. I can get back in a car, one shot in. That's not going to do anything to me. And so I took a shot, bought my wine. It is spicy. It's like a peppery tequila. It's got like some spice to it. So I'm like, so I bought the bottle, of course. I was like, yeah, you offered me for free. I got to take the whole bottle. I got to be nice. Bottle's about half gone. Just been hanging out here waiting for you to say it's time to record. I'm just, it comes with like a little spigot, like you can make mixed drinks out of it. So I just went, ew, peppery tequila. So we're this will be a little tequila episode. That's the whole story. Just me just drinking tequila here while the eggs the kids make later
sold spicy tequila
are gonna be
the first time. The first time I see you drunk in 2 years is
I'm not drunk. Dude, you have a way to question me to tell me if I'm drunk? Do you want me to do the alphabet backwards, or like what do you want? What's your sobriety test? You want me to like touch my nose a million times here?
It wasn't an accusation of being drunk.
No drunk, not drunk, not at all.
I was gonna say I've never seen you drunk.
But I had some tequila, so that was good. It's definitely not. I'm definitely not drunk.
Were you not just like you're? It's beautiful weather here in the north.
It's a small bottle.
Was that the vibe? Like what hit you? Remember the commercial when the moment hits or when the moment is right?
Oh, that I don't remember that commercial at all.
So it was crazy. We had a soccer coach when I was 14 or 15 years old, and we accidentally saw him. I don't think it was accidentally
on a commercial.
We saw him in a Cialis commercial. He was an actor and he was our coach, and we saw him in a Cialis commercial.
Hey,
sorry for blowing up your spot, but his name was Dan Pinto, Coach Dan Pinto.
Hey Dan, Coach Dan. When the time is right, Coach Dan will be there. Does Coach Dan ever use Cialis? Nah, forget it. I'm not gonna go down that terrible road. So no, man, I'm having fun. We're watching some basketball. The Mavericks lost already by the time of this recording. I will tell you the Grizzlies don't look so good, and we'll talk about both of those and some other matchups now that we know what all the matchups are. Talk a little baseball if you
Anthony
like.
Edwards, 19 points in the first half.
I mean, we talked about this yesterday. we talked about this. This could be like a coming out party for Anthony Edwards.
Can I make a little bit of so public service announcement. You guys,
Public service announcement.
we have listeners who've been with us since day one. We have listeners that have come on board somewhere in the middle, and we have new listeners from our 10 for 10 hobby. Guys, girls, kids, adults, everyone. We have a variety of content out there.
We do.
The episodes that we have, because they are a daily show, they're oftentimes what's going on in the hobby and in sports right now. So these episodes, probably for the next 3 weeks, are going to lean heavily towards baseball and basketball. But I understand, and we understand it's not everyone's cup of tea. What I recommend is going back and listening to guest episodes, listening to early episodes. If those two sports aren't your thing, we have so much other content out there. Cool? Because the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks is going to be predominantly baseball, basketball, and new guests.
And USFL football. We can talk USFL.
About that. We don't know anything about
Guys, a perfect example of what Andrew's talking about now is if you happen to jump into WWE because of Prism, because that was a new release, and you want to learn more about the history of wrestling cards, some of the original stuff.
Sure.
You know, one of the pioneers of wrestling cards, the guy who basically got PSA to start grading half of their wrestling card library. Our first guest ever was David Peck, 1982 Wrestling All-Stars.
A confident guy, a guy who knows his stuff, but didn't have an ego. He never came on. Think about that resume. Maybe the best WWE Wrestling All-Stars collection in the world. Maybe Jack London or something like that is. Jack England is his name. The other one.
Close enough.
He started an industry, basically, like you said. He was the one that got PSA to grade those cards. He didn't beat his chest like he was some kind of genius either. He's one of the most helpful people I know in the hobby.
Yeah, and it's a cool episode too. It veers off into boxing cards. Before anybody was buying Tyson, he was telling people to buy those Tyson cards. It talked about the Donald Trump cards that he has before people were even looking at those.
1990?
Just one example. Yeah, the top Trumps, like Rotten something or other card. I forget what the hell it is. Rotten to the Core, I think it's called. But that's just one example, right? We've had great guests on. Some of the most listened to episodes we've had is when we have on Josh and Chris Hodge from the Card Ladder team. Those are fun, back and forth, as you like to call it, popcorning episodes, and they don't talk about sports. I will give credit. I went right back to the beginning. I'll go give credit to this week. We are getting maybe more comments than any other one before about our episode with Jason Kuntz. People are really, really enjoying that episode. And I think it's because not a lot of people, bring him on, to talk. I met him at Mint Collective, and, we chatted for a little bit, and, we decided, he would make a great guest. I'd love to do like a whole series with him because, I'm telling people you might hear this now and be like, he just told me that in a comment. He just told me this in a DM. We talked to him for 2 hours. My phone died twice. And I kind of felt like, all right, we didn't get everything out of this guy. Like, there's chapters to this story. Like, got to have him back on. So you're right. The guest episodes are fun. And we try to, look, there's benefits to the daily episode, right? We're going to be able to talk about games that people are not going to talk about. We're going to talk today about how, Luka missed the game, but he may be back for the second or third game. And, everybody else will weekly or monthly episodes will talk about, what happened in the series. We get to talk about it game by game, day by day, how a superstar not being there impacts a team, and let's talk about how Dallas plays without Luka versus how Memphis plays without Ja, and vice versa. Interesting topics, so I love that we get to chat on the daily, about this stuff. So yeah, man, what's top of mind for you? Basketball, baseball? Can I rant about my Yankees for a minute? Because they suck.
Sure.
I want somebody to take Aroldis Chapman off our hands. The other night he came in, someone had to save the save for him. Lucky we were up by 3 runs. And he came in the game and he threw 16 pitches, 12 of them balls. Do you know what happens? I asked this with my son and he got it right. Do you know what happens when you throw 12 balls to 3 batters?
They're 4-4.
What happens when you throw 12 balls to 3 batters?
That's 3 walks.
You walk the bases loaded with no outs. When you come in,
he just couldn't find the strike zone?
Couldn't throw a strike to save his life. And so Mike King came in, by the way, and you want to talk about a tale of two cities, tale of two pitchers, right? King came in, and threw 5 pitches and got 3 outs. He threw a 3-strikeout to Springer, and then Bo Bichette came up with the bases loaded, and he threw a strike, and then another strike on the 5th pitch.
Ground ball.
He hit the DJ LeMahieu line drive, double play, first base.
Wow.
So, I mean, just an amazing
It's a huge save.
turn. And then last night, in the bottom of the 11th, Baltimore, who had 1 win coming into it, we should just spank Baltimore every time we play them. Baltimore, they start with the runner on second. They get the bases loaded and 1 out. And they bring Chapman in because now you need a strikeout. And he gets a strikeout. So now it's bases loaded, 2 outs. You got to get out of the inning, right? You know what he does? A walk-off walk. He walked the winner. He didn't even have to take a bat off his shoulder. It was so far outside. It wasn't even like even close. It was a high-pitched ball for. So this is the guy who's supposed to be like, oh, the Cuban Missile. He's terrible. And the Yankees are terrible. And I'm at a point now, and people are going to think I'm nuts because the Yankees, 27 years of winning the whole 9 yards, they need to blow up the team. And it's tough to do that because you got so much money invested in Garrett Cole. But the Yankees have done this. After Mantle, the tail end of Mantle's career in the 60s, and when I was a kid in the 80s, the Yankees blew up their team and built up their farm systems. And they were terrible. And by the way, in the 80s, it was exactly the same thing happening across town. Like Cohen's there now spending money. It's the same type of thing. In the 80s, it was Mets. It was a Mets city. 86 Mets, the amazing Mets. The Yankees were terrible. We got to do that again. Let Judge walk. Maybe trade him. Get some people in your farm system.
You have this, so your analysis, it sounds like you're surprised by it, but, to me, the Yankees, what the Lakers did this year, the Yankees have been doing for the last 10 years. They just try to sign the best talent, free agents. But they're I never understood the Stanton signing. The guy was always injured.
So I'll give him a pass on the Stanton signing because Stanton was coming off of a season where he had just won the MVP, the National League MVP.
Yeah, but you say this all the time. You say it's not what you've done for me before. But he got lucky 1 season out of his entire career.
No, but yes, for the health wise. But the Marlins kept some of his contract. Even his contract, which is all right, but that wasn't when you look at what people are being paid now. Stanton's contract's not even that bad, right? It's just not.
Then let's talk about Chapman. Chapman's old, man.
He's
been around the block,
but he's done soon. I don't like Chapman. I'll never get out of my brain. Just pitch the ball to Altuve and mash it. It's like they know what he's pitching. He can't find a strike zone. Even his fastball yesterday was 95. Judge, I hope he walks. I mean, on April 26th, dude's going to be 30 years old and hasn't even reached out of his rookie. Aaron Judge, you know that? People don't realize. It's like, oh, the Yankees are being cheap with Aaron Judge. No, they're not. They offer him a 7-year deal. That's going to take him to 37 years old.
Big tree fall hard.
Yeah, I mean, and he wants 10 years? We should pay you $35 million a year when you turn 40? Get the hell out of here. Goodbye. See you later. But they make so many mistakes. They should fire Boone. They should fire Cashman. They haven't done anything, and they need to blow it up. They have no farm system. They haven't no young talent. They haven't drafted and groomed anybody. They've gotten rid of their entire farm system. And what they need to do is kind of just blow the thing up and bring up some of the young guys. Let's see. Then you can build. And when Dominguez comes up and Volpe comes up and these guys come up, then you can spend your money on free agents. The only problem you have is the amount of money they charge, the amount of money it costs, and what the fans expect. What you're going to get is you're going to get mediocrity. You're going to get a team that wins between 90 and 100 wins every year, but quietly exits the playoffs because they're not built to actually win a championship. Anyway, there's my Yankee rant. I don't like losing to Baltimore. That's a team we should beat every single time we play them. So I'm a little angry on the.
It's so early in the season.
I get it. 3%,
4% of the games, maybe.
Right, but Tampa hasn't looked that great, and Toronto hasn't looked that great either. They're like 5-3. And if the Yankees would have beaten Baltimore last night, they'd be 5-3 and first in the division. I know it's early. It's 1/20th of the season. It's only 5%, but still, those 5%. Gimme games are the ones you have to get. You have to win those gimme games, right? You shouldn't.
It's less percentage-wise. It's less than the equivalent of one NFL game.
Yeah. Yep. 100%. But NFL's a little different. But this parity, the Yankees will make the playoffs, and then they'll exit the playoffs, and they'll the fans will be like, "What are you doing to take the next step?" And it'll be stupid. All right. So my question for you, baseball.
Yes.
People don't like baseball. My question for you is on basketball. I said recently that the Grizzlies might be better without Ja Morant. right? And they were 16-2 at time. They finished 20-2 without him,
Yeah.
or whatever the hell the record was without him. And I made the argument that they don't have to feed him the ball, right? When he's not there, right, he doesn't have to be, the offense doesn't have to run through him, and that the other guys are able to go out there and play team ball better without worrying about him. I don't believe that just being down after a half to the Timberwolves proves me right. And I think, just leading up to your response here, your analysis, you even said recently this week that this is not a good matchup for the Grizz. Because Minnesota plays good defense, they play good team ball also, and it's not a good matchup for the Grizzlies. Is there anything to what I'm saying, or this is just a bad matchup, whether they have him or they don't have him?
There's a lot of truth to what you're saying. Because, like, I visualize, I want to try to explain it. Like, every game a team has 100 shots, right? And there's a lot of different ways you could divide those shots. But when the role player's out, typically it's like just let the ball find the best player, right?
Correct.
You have 100 possessions. Let the ball, let's call it 12 turnovers, 88 shots. Let the ball find the best player. But when you have a star, that guy's going to take 30 shots, 25 shots, right? And even when he doesn't take 25 shots, he might have the ball in his hands for 40 of the possessions, 33 possessions. And the offense gets a little bit static, a little bit, a little stationary.
Yeah.
And Ja isn't that great of a shooter. He really isn't. He's incredible highlight reel. He could dunk on people. He's pretty good at finishing at the rim. But it's not that they're better or worse. They just have such a good 10-person rotation that when he's gone, the drop-off isn't significant. When Luka's gone, the drop-off is huge. Yeah. So I think that's what it is. Matchups also, right? Like a defense could kind of lock in on Ja. They know his style. They know how he kind of plays. So they sag off of him. They don't help off of Dylan Brooks or Desmond Bane or the other guys. So there definitely is some truth to that. He's improved a lot as well, Cage, though. So, like, I don't imagine that's how it sticks forever, but there's a tremendous amount of truth. But I'll tell you the opposite side of that. There are matchups where different teams, not the Timberwolves, where the Grizz are significantly better with Ja than without him. So a lot of it is matchup centric.
So why are the Timberwolves a tough matchup for a Ja-led team and another team might not be? Is there one good lockdown defender? Is it because they have, I don't know, Karl-Anthony Towns on the inside? I mean, what's the analysis there? What do the Timberwolves bring?
If you look through the roster, every one of the Memphis Grizzlies' strengths is the Timberwolves' strengths. You know what I mean? Like Cat and Jaren Jackson Jr. sort of cancel each other out, right? A big man that could shoot from outside. That's kind of a problem inside too, right?
Yep.
D'Angelo Russell, this dynamic kind of crazy point guard, go off for 40 any night. That's Ja. Then you have Anthony Edwards, stocky, strong athlete. That's Desmond Bane. And then a bunch of role players. That's what the Grizz have. That's what the Timberwolves have. So forget the seeding for a second. These teams are built very similar to each other. Competitive as fuck too. Like there's that, like the Grizz are the biggest shit talking team. The Timberwolves are number 2. Patrick Beverley is probably, dude, like that guy, he's a nutcase. I would hate to play against him. I would love him on my team. He gets a little extra, but so they're built very similarly. So in practice, they even see that. You know what I mean? They see, they know what Jaren Jackson's like because they got Cat. They know what Desmond Bane's like. They have Anthony Edwards. They know what a dynamic point guard's like. D'Angelo Russell, they see. So they match up very well. They match up very well against each other. It's going to be a good series, man.
I got 2 questions card related for you. If the Timberwolves beat the Grizzlies, what happens to Ja and Edwards cards, in your opinion?
I think Edwards has been underrated all year. I think he's a better player than LaMelo. I know LaMelo has like the hobby love, but I think Edwards is a better player. I mean, he's a proto. I don't even know. Is he a 2 or 3? Like the guy's, he's 20 years old. He's built like a brick. He's a taller Desmond Bane. He can shoot from 3. So I just think long-term Edwards is super underappreciated. But short-term, I think his cards see a significant like correction. I think Edwards cards are significantly underpriced. Ja, I think they fall, man. They've already run so much. Remember that data that we showed? They were already up 300%. Luka's down 50%.
Yep.
You can't really say that Ja is like that. Doesn't make too much sense. So I
But
think
that's because
Ja's part,
Luca's had run. Luca's had run a lot.
right.
That's part of it, you know. So they're correcting. But I guess what you're saying, and rightfully so, is take a look at Luca's cards, and that might be what you see with Ja. You know, Luca's just did their running, and it's on the way down. Ja's has just done their running. If he loses or follows a similar path to what Luca has done in playoffs recently, we
I
might
think
be
if he
looking
wins,
at.
they still fall.
All right. Well, I mean, it depends how many.
Anything short of a Western Conference Finals and like a really competitive run, I don't think his cards could sustain. I don't even think in that scenario they sustain because of the significant run they've had.
All right, it's fair. So the other side of the coin, had you been asleep for a year and woke up this morning and the first thing you did was check eBay, based on the pricings, that we saw, you would think that Trae Young won the NBA championship last night. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's a great time to sell Trae. I don't like the comparisons of Trae versus Trae and Curry. I really don't, because I'll come back to it. Like they show the Trae highlight where he stepped back, the guy's in like he I'm talking about, the highlight where the guy's like in the paint where he shoots a three. Amazing. It looks so good. But that's not what makes Curry Curry. What makes Curry Curry is he could do that and run off of ball screens and shoot off of the catch and shoot. Shooting off, when you could shoot with the ball in your hand, like if you could beat someone off the dribble and you could score when it's a catch and shoot, you're way more difficult to stop. So to me, that's what makes Curry really that dynamic, is how well he moves off of the ball. So to me,
what I thought was funny is that Trae, the prices have gone up, and I saw a silver. You can look it up if you like. I saw a silver PSA 10 Trae. I think it was like $800.
I mean, that's what Edwards is at.
$700. Like I mean, I remember those things going, pushing $4,000. So I guess I know you say it's a good time to sell Trae, right? But the cards are less than 20% of what they were at the peak. And guys, I guess.
But that price wasn't a Trae price. That was a whole market. That was like the tech sector all came down. The tech sector was overpriced. You know what I'm talking about? Like,
yeah, of course.
Guys, in like stocks, there's like the P to PE ratio. If you like looked at all the PE ratios of all tech stocks last year, they were 50 to 1, and now all of them are 20 to 1.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's interesting stuff, right? Do you think the Hawks give the Heat a little bit of a matchup here, or what?
I really don't. I really don't.
Guy.
I'm not a Heat guy. Just what would be the trouble? Like what matchup could they exploit? They barely beat the Cavs.
Just Trae's got to score 60 a game.
Right, but even then, he's going to face Kyle Lowry, right? He's going to face PJ Tucker if he's going off. They have like 5 different Jimmy Butler. They could throw a lot of different guys at him. So
I mean, Butler, I wouldn't want to face. Butler, obviously, he's already shown he likes to pick on small guys. I mean, he tried to fight Spoelstra. I mean, Trae Young's about the same size.
And then Haslam came in and he's like, I don't want any of that.
So anyway, it's fun stuff to watch, right? Because the only person cheering more than Patrick Beverley this week were Trae holders. So it's fun to kind of watch, as the stuff goes. And you got to give Trae some credit. Cards being relevant or not, him being Curry or not, the dude shows up. He is a big-time player. You know what I mean? Like, he just adds teams to the list of fan bases that are going to hate him, right? The Cavs. You see, he won the game yesterday, and before he dapped up, before he hugged Garland, he was waving goodbye to their fans after dropping 32 points in the second half. I mean, the Ice Trae moniker, he's earning it. He basically came into, I don't know why people call MSG the Mecca. It's like nobody wants to play here anymore, so I don't even care. But he came into MSG and basically just like ripped the hearts out of all the Knicks fans last year when it was the 4-5 matchup, and went on a run. And he has picked up. And listen, the Heat may sweep him, right? But he's just, He's Willie Mays Hayes. He's taking every glove from a Steeler and he's nailing it on his wall. And he's going to have a whole wall full of them soon. He's doing that with fan bases.
All right.
You know?
So can we just at least caveat that? I think he's doing that with B and C tier teams.
All right. Well, he can only beat the teams that are in front of him.
Well, right. And then once he gets to the A tier teams, he becomes a ghost. What are you? Is someone calling you? Are you ghosting me because I said that Trey becomes a ghost? You and your games. That tequila just hit you different. What I'm saying is, if Cage decides to return, I agree Trey is fantastic, and I agree he's got that heel that we talked about with Cage, the WWE heel, you know. And he does have that. Yeah, I saw him wave off the calves. He gave a little attitude. I think it was to Spike Lee last year in the Garden. But these aren't elite teams. This isn't the Suns. This isn't the Warriors, the Heat, the Bucks, the Celtics. I would love to see how he does in a 7-game series versus those teams, and if he could really, really, really perform versus those.
I don't know what happened. It said my browser has lost access to my camera. You know, I should probably put on Do Not Disturb because I got a phone call there too. So it doesn't matter. Weekend.
What I said, Cage.
I heard everything you said. I heard all the words about their B team, C team. He's not doing it against the high
I would like to
teams.
see. It was the same with Ja. Like, I'm not someone that's like a really great predictor. Even before the season, I said I would love to see Ja turn a corner. I'd like him to have a more consistent jump shot. I would like to see him lead the team better, and they did. And when I start to see the trend, I hop on. Trey, I don't think he's beat anyone worth mentioning.
But he went to the Eastern Conference Finals last year, right? And he gave them a run. He gave your boy a run.
Who's that, Giannis?
Yeah.
You can give him a run.
Come on, man. I mean, the way you're talking, the Bucks should have blown him out. You know, the Bucks should have swept him. And that didn't happen. You know, I mean
they're 2-1 versus the Bucks this year. So, I mean, I'll eat my words, man. You know,
no, I'm not. Listen, that's not.
Sometimes you got to die on
saying...
your sword. I've never been a Trey believer. I think he takes a tremendous amount of bad shots. I don't think he could play off the ball at all. But dude, I'm wrong all the time. I
think people don't care as much. You know what I mean? I think the shot from the logo. It's this generation, man. It's dude perfect version of basketball. It's trick shots. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, I can shoot this.
It's an inefficient shot. It's a bad shot.
I mean, not really. I mean, not if look. I mean, Eastern Conference Finals. Let's see what he does this year. You know, I mean, when the chips are down, right? The Nets are the 7th seed, and the Hawks are now the 8th. You know, I mean, people are all over the Nets right now, and the Hawks are just right there. And you know, I mean, I wouldn't want
the
to
Nets have Durant and Kyrie and Seth Curry and
finish 1 seed ahead of the Hawks and his logo shots.
Simmons, do you think Simmons, if he comes back and plays, can have an impact?
I don't care about Simmons. I don't think he's going to play. I think it's a big joke. I think he's sitting on the sidelines worried about who their next round matchup's going to be, right? You know, I mean, do I have to play? Maybe could I wind up playing the 76ers? They'd hold him out. You know what I mean? Like, I don't – did you bring him back for a playoff series? Really? Not knowing anything about it? I mean, if I'm the Nets, I just say just sit your ass on the bench. Like,
it's really hard to come back and play at that intensity when you haven't played all year.
I mean, how do you let him back? How do you let the dude play? And then you let him play and they win and they wind up, you know, playing against the Sixers, let's say. I mean, I don't even know if the math could work out where they could play against the Sixers. Could they? I don't even know. But let's say they have to beat the Sixers. What does he sit out? Does he say his back hurts again? You know, can he not take the fans in Philly? You know, when they go and they play on the road? So I mean,
he's got a lot of ego for being like a 3rd or 4th best player on a team.
I will not fault anyone who is a professional athlete their ego because it's a lot of the reason that they're there, right? You know, you have a bit of it yourself, and it's the reason why we are the best podcast to ever do a podcast. This is why when you see Joe Rogan, he bows down to you. Right, you have to have a little bit of an ego, and it makes sense, man. So I won't fault Ben Simmons his ego. You know, you have to have it. You have to think you're the best. Otherwise, you're probably gonna have a harder time climbing the mountain. So I won't fault him that. Now, look, if it were fantasy basketball, sure, I'd love him to be healthy, and I'd plug him right into the lineup and, bring some of the defense and some of the passing abilities and stuff that the Nets don't have. I just don't see it. I don't. It's not the playoffs is not the time where you let somebody find their legs. You know what I mean? Because you do that for a couple games and you get eliminated. So if I'm the Nets, I don't think they're even thinking about playing him. I know it was a question. They asked. I saw Steve Nash and Durant in a post game after they clinched the spot about Ben Simmons. Can he play? And both of them basically had like canned answers, like, we're not even thinking about that. Like, we're thinking about the team that's ahead of us. I have no control over that. His back still hurts or whatever the hell. Like, they basically were like, blinders on. Don't ask me about Simmons. He's not even a thought right now. So, don't get me wrong. I'd love it if he came back and played great. I'd love for everybody to play great. I try not to root against anybody. That's one of the fun things I've learned about the hobby, right? I think you get further if you cheer for people instead of trying to knock them down. So, I'm going to start cheering for people.
Cards to the max.
Who should we cheer for today?
Cards to the max. I mean, this was cool. I like getting this kind of post. This. If you guys ask me what gives me the most fulfillment or purpose, is seeing other people succeed from either conversations we've had or they listened to our podcast and picked up a nugget. So what he posted was, shout out to Luca Nation Fantasy, Luca's NFT. Ever since I bought their NFT project, I've been, in the Discord, learning about NFTs, learning about digital collectibles. And today he sold one for 80th profit, 24,000 profit. But what it wasn't the money. It was the learnings that came and all of the people that participate in our Discord and have conversations and educate and say, look at this trend. Hey, take a look at this project. So I love seeing that someone from our community is able to win and win big by learning and using their mind.
I love that it's not about the 8 ETH, right? It's about that there are people in our community who can't stand NFTs. Luca Nation is filled with hundreds to thousands of people who all think different things. We definitely have people who do not want to talk about NFTs. And you don't have to, right? And if that's not your jam, it's not your jam. If you want to talk about tickets, you talk about tickets. You want to talk about Type 1 photos, let's rock. Let's talk about
all
it.
We've talked about, by the way, right?
Yeah. And so what you get from us, I think that's different, is Cards to the Max, UConn student, graduating in a couple weeks. We've talked about cards. We've talked about life. We've talked about his pals. He's a SIGEP, balanced man, which I think is like the greatest thing there, because we're all trying to be balanced, right? We're all trying to learn a little bit about little different things here and there. And congrats to Max. I mean, I chat with him a lot. When he graduates, he's got a job with Dell. So there you go, right out of college, going to work with a big company. And with that 8 ETH, I used to say the next time we meet up, which will be the first time we meet up, I'll buy him a drink. But now that he's making money, he can buy me the drink.
Spicy tequila is what gets Cage's pants down, by the way.
I never even knew there was such a thing. But, I said, I'll try it.
But, dude, it's all sort of the same game, like pumping, shilling, manipulation aside. There are similarities between all of this stuff, right? And you can learn.
You know what it is? You never know what is going to be someone's thing. And you know what part of it could be? This is their thing because they had a win in it. Great. Let's be honest, right? You're here. You're doing a podcast providing value to people, not just about sports takes and sports betting and fantasy and card plays, right? You give like life lessons too. Sometimes the lesson is don't do what Andrew does. Sometimes the lesson is don't eat like Cage. But the thing is, there are a lot of people who listen to us every day, run, work out. We put a platform out there for people. You know what's funny about that? None of that would have happened. None of it. If somebody said to you, stop being an asshole and buying Zion cards to make money on them. Because you came in and you said, hey, I see a way to make a little bit of money here. I'm going to buy Zion cards raw. I'm going to grade them. I'm going to sell them for more than they're worth. Now, let's go down this road. That makes you a flipper. Ooh, you're a bad guy. You're not a collector. shame, shame. Everybody knows your name. What a horrible human being you are. We should cast you out of this hobby that we hold so dear. Horrible human. How dare you try to buy
If I helped the
Zion?
Zions, I would be in big trouble right now.
But look what you did. You enjoyed it. You had a win there, right? And you continued on, and you started researching other things. And you know what I get in the mail a couple months later? A Mickey Mantle vintage card from this guy. Buying Mickey Mantle vintage cards. He's buying them for gifts for me. He's buying them for himself.
That's true.
Right? You know what I mean? You know, Ian still has it in his PC, right? So there are probably other people coming in now, and they're going to take a chance on their prospect. Maybe they like LaMelo, or maybe they like Tyrese Maxey, or who the hell knows who they like, and they buy it. Let's cheer for their win, and maybe they stay, right? And you know what? Let's take it even a step further. If they pivot into something else, right, while still buying cards and still part of the community, let's not call them an asshole. You know, let's not, okay, you're out. You can no longer be a Capulet. Clearly, you've shown your colors as a Montague. Yeah, I mean, like, what are we doing there? You know, like, what? Come on. You know, they'll be back. They're still part of your community. And hey, how about a crazy thing? Maybe they learn something, and maybe they come back and they teach you, and there's another area for you to explore and you to learn about. I mean, to me, and I said this in my post today, I want all you guys who are listening to this, go like my post. Because none of my posts get, you know, I get like 100, 200 likes on my good post. Go like my post. This is a damn good post.
That's how empires used to expand, right? Like the Greeks, the Romans, they had people defending their castle, which actually are important, like defending the gates. But they would send people out on horses and say, go see what those neighboring countries are doing, you know? And they might bring back cinnamon, and they might bring back black pepper, and they might bring back corn, right? And be like, hey, we could grow that here. This could be an industry here. So that's interesting.
I mean, listen, go like my post. It's a damn good post. But the point is, hey, you know, different strokes for different folks, but it's all love. Give some hugs, you know? And if you, I mean, listen, I think the best part of what we built here really has nothing to do with the cardboard itself. It has to do with the community. And I second your take on this. That post is amazing to me. That post was great. It really is. The fact, and it's less about that somebody bought our NFT as their first entry into the space and learned with us, and then learned on their own, and now found a way to turn something that was a tiny investment into making what amounts to $25,000 on a sale today or yesterday, whenever that sale went through. And it's not always about the money, but the money, that success story, that's what keeps people here, right? It's naive to think that people are going to stay and continue to prop up the hobby if they're just losing money after losing money. They'll find something else where they're having fun and they're using them.
Have you guys out there who collect cars or anything or stocks, when you lose a few, maybe I'm the only one, but like I want to sell everything. Like, fuck this shit. This is not where I belong, right? No, that does not feel good. Losing does not. My sister today, she played volleyball, not competitive, but they didn't do well. They came in 4th out of 4. She didn't feel good, even though it was a fun Saturday, you know. And I love this quote. It's winning is more fun than fun is fun. And anyone out there who doesn't believe that, you guys have not won enough, because winning is so fun, and winning with people you love is the best thing in the world. Ed Milet is a virtual mentor of mine who said that. I always want to give credit when I take people's content. Winning is more fun than fun is fun.
I'm not sure I understand it.
Well, okay, I'll give you an example. Have you played recreational sports where people will be like, dude, take it easy. We're having fun. Have you met those people?
Yes, of course. We're just doing this for fun.
This is just fun.
Yeah.
Those people carry that attitude everywhere in life. And when they don't win, eventually down the road, they get resentful. But winning is more fun than hey, let's just have fun. Winning is more fun than fun is fun.
It's fun. So it's fun to win.
It's fun to fucking win, man. It's such a good feeling. And winning with people you love is like that feeling squared.
Not cubed?
It might be cubed.
Might be cubed. Could be. It depends on how many people you win it with. Like if you win it with a whole squad.
I mean, you parents out there know. Like, how proud are you when your kids work hard at something, commit to it, and then win, and then you see that joy on their face of like, fuck, I worked hard, I put everything I had in, I came home, whether that's a test, a medal, a team trophy, winning a tournament, whatever it is. You've seen that emotion. It's a great feeling.
Oh yeah, 100%. Let's see, what else can we talk about today? We got some sports. We got that post. That post is that was an awesome post. And I also got take a look at my my reaction to it. I maybe I'll apologize. Because I'm guilty of it myself as well. To who? I'll start off with the two faces of it, right? Darren Ravel, P. Ryan. We start off with those guys if you want me to actually put a face on it, right? Put names to it. Because I've been guilty of it myself, being closed-minded to other avenues that people like. You know what I mean? Some people like to collect coins. Some people like comics. Some people like digital stuff. I mean, when tickets came out, Ravel, P. Ryan, they make a case for it, right? And there's obviously people out there who love that stuff. That it tells the history, it tells the story, and some of the things they have are really cool, man. Some of the things like this is the game where Randy Johnson killed the bird pitching the ball. That's probably not going to ever be worth a ton of money.
Correct.
But
so I think what you were doing, and I apologize to cut you off, is you're trying to protect people in the sense of in tickets, it's a lot difficult to distinguish between a base card and like a scarce card, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Like P. Ryan posted a Kobe final game autograph ticket. That's iconic. Yeah. That's iconic any way you slice it, because there's not going to be many more of those out there. Like whatever's out there's out there. But a Randy Johnson ticket that might be pumped or shilled, or just the market for tickets goes up, there's like probably 10,000 people in their shoebox who have that ticket that aren't even thinking about it.
Yep. Yeah. No,
it's just harder to figure that out in tickets.
Yes, the quantity, you never know. I mean, obviously there's a max. However, you can always look up how many people were in the stadium that day.
Right.
You know what I mean? Where it gets like movie tickets people were doing, it's interesting. But I guess my take on it is, I don't want to say collect what you love, because I still want you to make money on it. I don't want people to collect something, they love it, and then all of a sudden they're down $10,000 and they leave the hobby, right? But there is something to be said about people are not going to put that kind of money into it only to prospect, right? So I guess my take on it is, if tickets are your thing, if you really like tickets, or you like movie stubs, or you like video games or whatever it is, then fine, do it. Put your money in it. I shouldn't be telling you not to, but we'll be here to kind of talk through it, right? Because here, it's not Ed Milet who said this, right? Maybe it's Andrew Goldberg. I don't know who said it, but those who forget the past are doomed to repeat it. And there's a
Mark
lot
Twain
of
said
great...
history doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes.
My
that
dad
one I still don't totally get.
Men who go to bed with itchy ass wake up with smelly finger.
Don't do that.
But I just laugh at that. I mean, it's not as prophetic as if you forget, you're doomed to repeat it.
The thing with tickets is there's just to come back to it. You remember when the Gretzky OPC, there was one PSA 10, and then I think a second one got graded, and it went from a $500,000 card to $290.
Yeah, and then back to $1 million.
Back to $1 million over time. But with tickets,
more probably now.
Let's say there's 30,000 people in attendance, right? And let's even say 5% of that kept their tickets, or 3%. But the population on some of these tickets is 10. If 20 more get graded, that's 200x the pop. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But I mean, people probably threw them out and that kind of stuff. But I get it. Listen. The doom to forget it is this, right? So let me get back to my quote, not the itchy ass one, right? We've seen this. Wow, this is the new thing happen, right? When was the last time you saw somebody post about video games? Right? You used to see that shit all the time. You used to see all the sealed video games, the videos. Remember, you couldn't get on Instagram without people posting their, sealed Star Wars stuff and their sealed, Tetris games, and I haven't seen that. And then you know what happened after that? What happened after that was Marvel PMGs happened, right? Learn from the
That
Marvel
was a
PMGs, guys,
disaster.
because the pops were really low. It's kind of what Andrew's saying about the tickets, right? Oh, there's 1 or 2 or 3 of these, and then all of a sudden there's more. They kind of just find their way into grading, and your valuation of a card where you thought there were 1, 2, or 4, all of a sudden when there are a dozen or 2 dozen or more graded, especially ones from like 2015, 2017. Like these are not exactly like old and lost cards. People didn't get these and throw them in the garbage, right? Um, it's an interesting thing that happens with these developing markets. And while I'll tell you, go ahead and collect whatever it is you like, collect what you love, go for it. But when you do it, keep both of your eyes open because the data that you need is there, right? Look at those
The data tells you
emerging
about the
developing
past, right,
markets.
Cage?
Yep. Yeah, but you can learn about. You find something similar. Now, I'm not comparing ticket market to Marvel PMGs, but there are some correlations, right? The market kind of sprouted up out of nowhere, right? You know, people all of a sudden Marvel, these cards are worth all this crazy amount of money. You know, they were talked about by, you know, a select few people. They were pretty much everywhere on every post, and then all of a sudden, there's more of them. So I'm not saying that all of a sudden more tickets going to materialize. I'm just saying that you've seen this story before. There are other chapters to this book. Read those chapters that come before this current chapter of, you know, tickets or movie stubs or whatever the next thing we're going to be, you know, told about is.
Is the lesson don't buy the first pump?
I mean, you know, you could probably come up with something where the first pump is the best entry. You know, things where there wasn't stuff. So I mean, it's never there's no general rule with all this stuff. You know what I mean?
Don't paint
You know,
with a broad
sometimes
brush.
you know, I mean, sometimes the first pump. Look, it's difficult, right? Because everything's a different thing. You know, Top Shot, I didn't get out of fast enough. World of Women, I got out of too fast. You know what I mean? It's one of those things, right? You
What
know,
about
you never
Skux?
know. Skux, I'm going to be in that for 5 years.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I've never heard you say something like that before.
Mm-hmm. I'm in that for a long time. 100%.
My buddy asked me, "Do you regret selling the proof?" And I said, "I regret not selling my buddy's own proof hardware."
Dude, I tried to buy it. I couldn't get in. They didn't let me do it.
You didn't let me do it. What a line! That's the
I'll send you the error.
That's the title. That's the title of today's episode. They didn't let me do it.
They didn't. I send you a picture. I tried. They didn't let me do it. You know, I got an error. They didn't like me.
Tie game.
It happens.
No, Minnesota up by 4. Dude, I'm 2-0 so far, which feels really good. I got a text message yesterday. Good call. No, it was a comment on YouTube. Good call on the Hawks. Good call on the Pelicans. I said the Timberwolves. I didn't really make a prediction on this game, but I do think the Timberwolves are going to give the Grizzlies some trouble. Anything else? I want to go watch the second half of this game.
Yeah. I mean, we'll also start giving some card plays again, guys. I know Andrew doesn't like to do it, but I'll come back with some card plays 100%. And just, you know, a little bit of where I'm thinking. I'm going to start doing a deep dive into this. I don't know which card it's going to be, but I think that there might be a play soon on Zion. I don't know if it's his base. I don't know if it's silver. I don't know if we have to come up with a different kind of card where it becomes a play. You know, prices have come down so much on him where, you know, I don't think he comes back. I don't think he plays here in these playoffs. But I think, you know, another offseason of rest and you're going to have some sort of a run-up to, you know, him dunking, and the windmill dunks will be in advance of him actually playing.
It's a good games. Team. They're a
team
good
is
team.
now
Brandon
he's
Ingram
now joining.
Is good, man.
He's joining a playoff team, and there's going to be some hype around that. And I think, you know, there may be a window here coming up after they are eliminated where, you know, where Zion might be a play to kind of get into. I don't want to say, you know, this is completely my idea. Believe it or not, if you didn't listen to our Jason Kuntz episode, it was one of the nuggets he kind of dropped in there as almost like a tangent sentence, dicta, as we like to call it. Wasn't really a part of anything he was saying, but, you know, he threw in, you know, about potentially investing in Zion soon.
I want to start a new segment. I love episodes where there's two types of guest episodes. There's ones where you kind of go back and forth and you like kind of grill the guest and, you know, you poke holes. And there's also ones where you just get the person's story, right? Without judgment, right? Because we all have, if we look behind the curtain. None of us are perfect, and you could grill and all that, but I do want for our hobby just to capture people's stories, leave the story neutral, and let you guys that are listening decide. Do I believe it? Do I not? Does that make sense? Because sometimes we debate with a guest. Other times, and I really enjoy it, just let the guest, and I'd love to hear their story, how they got into cards, what's their origin, what.
I may let you do that by yourself because sometimes the guest says something I have to hit. I may be the worst person to do this with. I can't just sit there and let some of these people say the bullshit that they say.
You said sometimes I'll stay quiet if I think the guest knows what he's talking about.
Listen, you can tell if I'm enjoying an episode. I'm quiet. That's not me being lazy. That's me taking it all in. There are some people who really are good storytellers, and we've had plenty of them on. There are some people who come here and think it's their job to poke me, and that's probably not smart. So, it has not worked.
You will not win. But it's really tough to win on our home field. Away court, okay, we got you. But home court,
100%.
I'll turn too. I turn into bite your face off.
Listen. Oh, dude, no, you don't want to be on Andrew's bad side. But let me throw this one out there because we share, man. Luca Nation is our family. We got thousands of people who listen to this fun stuff. We do, and families share. We share our stories. We share what's going on in our lives. Before we wrap this up, you want to spend a couple minutes and tell people what you got going on in your life for the next 24 or 48 hours?
Sure, but I listened to my family. I learned to listen better. They said, don't drive through the night, leave early morning. So I'm leaving early morning Sunday, like 4 or 5 a.m. I'm driving to Boca. I'm driving to Miami. And hopefully, I got a nice place, but you never know. Did they scam you? Did they not? I don't believe it till I see it, but moving to Miami. Hopefully my sister graduates and she joins me because that'll be fun. Hopefully my best buddy Brof joins me. It'll be fun. But we're gonna do some damage. It's gonna be fun. I'm gonna try to visit every single. There's a lot of celebrities, a lot of influencers down there. Maybe we'll be able to get them on our show. I want to visit all the LCSs in the area.
Gotta visit Mikey Vinegar. That's
100%.
the guy to listen to. I wish I would listen.
100%.
He gave me some great advice about, and I repeated it. Give him credit for it. I repeated that Mint Collective about not being emotionally attached to your cards and stuff like that. That's all Mikey V.
And then the thing that benefits you guys is I'm going to be 15 minutes away from SGC. So we're going to have an SGC sub. We already have some cards submitted, but it's going to be white glove service. Hopefully it saves you guys 1 week.
He didn't steal that from you, Magpie.
I no way I stole that from them. I've said that for a while, but I love Magpie. They're awesome. It hopefully saves you guys time. Simple as that. And if you join our Whatnot breaks, for example, we'll be breaking different product. We can break the product for you. I'll submit it that week within 1 to 2 days. Pick it up in 2 to 3 weeks. And then if you want, we could send it to a consignor. If you want, maybe we can sign it on our Whatnot channel or I send it back to you. So there's a lot of great group subs out there. KK is a great group subber. Boca Raton subs, good subber. If you like us, if you vibe with our show and you trust us, happy to sub it. Happy to sub it for you guys. So there'll be more information on that. But there's a lot of good options out there.
Beautiful. Listen, we should do like an episode with you on the road, and you have to do it as if it's like a CB. You have to do the episode like Breaker 19. What's your 20? You
Like
do the whole
Super
episode like that. It'll be exactly.
I'm gonna eat a bag of shrooms and then do the episode in an hour.
Dude, oh my god, that would be amazing.
That's what they do in the movie.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but it'd be good if you actually did it. It'd be fun. That would be a great episode.
Have you guys ever seen Impulsive where Mike Tyson just munches down like an apple?
I can see it now. It's like I'm on eBay. I'm buying all the Desmond Baines I can. I love Desmond Bain. Guy's like a brick. He's like a brick.
Like a brick.
He's a brick.
All right, fourth quarter. Love you, Luca Nation. Peace.
Enjoy.